Imagine if you had more time to invest in your health and well-being. Busy Bendigonians just like you are doing it every week, and we're going to show you how. When I first had Andy, it seemed like all opportunities for exercise went out the window, but then I discovered that using the bike for some of my trips was easier than I thought. I love it on the days when I get to ride to work. Everyone at work is moaning and groaning that it's just a Tuesday, but I've already accomplished something before the day starts.
You might feel like there's a lot to think about going by bike. Like, can I find enough time? Will I feel safe on the road? The reality is, choosing to ride your bike in Bendigo is easy and convenient if you know how, and often just as fast as travelling by car. Let's talk about how to make it easier for you to go by bike.
I plan my route in advance. I don't ride to work the same way I drive to work. So when I drive to work, I take the highway and it takes about 20 minutes. When I ride to work, I take the bike path. That's a much nicer ride than drive. The first time I rode to work, I did a practice on the weekend to make sure I had plenty of time and to make sure I knew the way. Bendigo has many off-road paths and parallel side streets that make it really easy to ride. You'd be surprised how quick you can get around on the bike.
On shared paths, you must keep to the left and give way to people walking. Slow down around others on the path and use your bell or call out to let them know you're coming. For some trips, you may need to ride part of the way by road. Personally, I don't have a bike path all the way from home to work, but where possible, I use bike lanes and look out for less busier streets so it's safer for me on the roads. In Victoria, you can only ride on a footpath if you are under 13, unless you are supervising children under 13 or carrying a child on your bike. To find all the best riding routes in Bendigo, Google Nice Rides Bendigo and download the map.
I'm so busy with the kids and work. When do I get time to exercise?
I really like riding to work because it clears my head. I often feel a lot more energised when I get to my place of work.
Another real benefit of riding your bicycle to work is that you don't have to look for car parks. You can actually ride it straight up almost to the front door and just park it. And you know, that within itself saves sometimes up to 30 minutes by the time you find a park and then walk to the office. You don't have to worry about that on a bike.
I do absolutely ride in my work clothes. I'm blessed to have an electric bike, so the hills and the headwinds just don't make me hot and sweaty like an analogue bike would.
I'm not mega fit. I'm not one of these people that can go 1,000,000 miles an hour on the bike.
I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to rain. If it's pouring rain, I'm definitely not going to ride. If it's just spitting a bit, I'll put a raincoat on and I'm fine with that. And if it starts pouring during the ride, I'll just stop under a bus stop for 5 minutes.
I've got some wet weather gear that's also high-vis gear, so low light is not a huge risk for me.
Sometimes you need to ride on the road. When you do, what can you do to feel safe? Even if you feel nervous to begin with, these few tips will help you ride more confidently and safely when you first start. Ride a metre out from the side of the road. This will help you avoid debris like rocks and holes on the side of the road. You're also more visible to other traffic.
It's especially important to stay 1 metre out from parked cars so you can stay safely away from opening doors. In low speed areas, there are times it's safest to take the lane. You are more visible and drivers are less likely to squeeze past. These are my lights, one on the front, one on the back. They're really convenient to use. I just charge them up with my phone charger. By law, lights must be used at night and in dull conditions, but I just use them every day to be a little bit more visible on the road. Always be aware of what's going on around you by scanning ahead and behind, just like you would driving a car. Before changing lanes or changing direction, do a quick head check like you would use your rear view mirror. Let's talk about phones. The same laws apply to bikes and cars. You can only use your phone if it's mounted or hands-free, but pull over to text or make a call.
There's a couple of simple tricks that help you have better control on your bike. I discovered these when I was starting out and it really helps me ride more safely and just feel more confident. Being in an easy gear and having your pedal in the power position or pedal up before starting allows you to accelerate really easily. Change your gears to keep the pedals spinning at a constant rate. Riding will feel easier and you'll be able to control your bike better and react quickly if you need to.
When riding over bumps, have your pedals level and you'll be more stable and it's easier to manoeuvre.
When riding on roads, you have rights and responsibilities like drivers. You need to be predictable, just like you would be in the car.
Let others know what you're doing and don't make unexpected moves. Legally, you must signal before you turn right by clearly extending your right arm. And when I'm riding on a road, I'll always try to make eye contact with the driver to make sure they've seen me.
I've had just so many beautiful moments with drivers. I know it sounds strange, but they will acknowledge me back and smile, and there just feels like such a mutual respect. So I feel really safe on the roads, which enables me to ride anywhere.
I think it's just really important that if you're predictable as a bike rider, cars know what to expect, so you are safe.
How do I carry all my stuff?
As far as carrying stuff on the bike, I use panniers. I've got one that I use for food. It's insulated, so it's like an esky. You can keep stuff cold if you want to.
In one of these panniers is Darby's school bag, so that's how I carry all of her gear to school. In the other pannier, I have all my work clothes.
It's just a little lunchbox size bag, but then both sides come out and you can take quite a lot of stuff in the sides. If I need to pick up some milk and some groceries on the way home, I can stack them in the pannier.
I carry all my work gear in my backpack.
I've got this old basket, and it is amazing how much I can fit into that basket.
Our little one will go in a chariot, which hooks up to the back of my bike or my wife's bike, and he really likes that.
Buckling kids in and out of the car is an absolute pain, and so I can keep them in this and I can roll up to the library door and I can return books. It's so easy, it's so convenient. You never have to worry about parking.
Going by bike for some trips is an easy way to build incidental exercise into every week. It doesn't have to be every day, but once you start, you'll be surprised how often you can use the bike for a short trip. It's surprising what a difference regular short rides make to your health and well-being.
I really use my riding as an opportunity to have my time to reflect on my day ahead or the day that's been. Freshing in the mornings, it invigorates you and you get to have that blood pumping through your body.
Being on a bike just, makes me feel alive. My mental health has improved dramatically, I'd say, since having it.
Now that you're armed with all this information, check your calendar. When are you going to plan your next ride? Follow Bike Bendigo on Facebook to receive more helpful tips on how to get more time for yourself and feel great using your bike.